Hey everybody, and welcome to Steelbook Obsessed. My name is Jake, and today I've got an early physical media review for you. Let's time to get those type and code fingers ready because we are diving into the world of early 2000s with Swordfish, everybody. This movie holds a very soft spot in my heart because there's a very, very specific scene just ingrained in my brain. I'll talk about my thoughts on the film first, and then I will go into the three factors that I will be grading this physical media release on. The TNA effect, which there is a scene in here, which has some TNA, but this TNA stands for transfer in audio. I'm also going to be talking about the packaging and rating it. Aero Video is pretty synonymous with packaging at this point. And last, but certainly not least for me, I'm a lover of all things special features. This release has a lot of them. Some are new, some are old. What is that ratio? I'll tell you here later on in the video. If you like these type of physical media reviews, make sure you give the video a like, the channel a subscription. I would greatly appreciate it. But let's start talking about my history with Swordfish and just my 2 cents on Swordfish in the 20 years that I have that it's been since I've seen this movie. This movie came out in like 2001, 2003, somewhere around there. 2001. Okay, I was right. Right before some like 9/11 shenanigans happened, of course. And this feels like right on the bubble. It still has some like 90s vibes in there, but trying to be very edgy in the 2000s sense. And I remember watching this movie, again, this one played on Stars a lot. And even though I wasn't really interested in the movie itself, there was one specific scene starring Halle Berry. And it was every time even when I went to rewatch this movie, I'm like, okay, about halfway through the movie is when this scene happens where she's sunbathing. And I want to say that was her first nude role. I know that, but I think she got paid a ton of money to finally display her assets out on film. And while I will say that scene now seems very unnecessary, it probably seemed unnecessary back in 2001. The character kind of goes certain places, and then her character's kind of all over the place in this movie. This movie is kind of all over the place. This will go down for me as a so bad it's good type of film. The main similarities that I have for Swordfish is that of Bad Boys 2. It's got like that certain DNA just injected in its veins. The color palette that they decided to go with here as well. Very Bad Boys 2, very Domino from Tony Scott. It's just got like the sepia tones all over the place. There's also style all over the place. I didn't remember who the director of this movie was. Turns out it was Dominic Sena, and he directed another guilty pleasure movie of mine, a movie that I grew up loving, Gone in 60 Seconds, the Nicolas Cage version. So as soon as I made the connection, I'm like, yeah, very, very similar veins between all four of those movies that I just kind of talked about. Hugh Jackman plays this hacker who went to jail, is out of jail now, and is trying to get custody back of his daughter. And he will go to any means to make sure that happens, even if that means he has to work for John Travolta. Who wants to do that anymore? Like, even in this movie, even in 2001, the character he plays in this movie is just odd. It doesn't seem like it fits John Travolta too well at all. I feel like there are a lot more actors that would have taken this material and made it their own a lot better. This seems very forced, a very forced acting job by Travolta, especially like the opening sequence of this movie, him talking about Dog Day Afternoon. Like, are you trying to be Tarantino-esque dialogue right now? Because if you are, it is just like dropping off of a cliff. It did not work for me whatsoever, but it also opens up with a awesome action set piece. But then it does that critical thing to where like the scene happens and then kind of like cuts to black or white, whatever it does, and then it says 4 days later. So it opens up with a scene that you're going to see further in the movie. I hate that. That's one of my pet peeves. If you can't tell a story without telling me something that happens in the story to make sure that I stay tuned, that's a huge misstep. Another example of a movie that just did that was Sinners, and that was that was more unnecessary than it was here in Swordfish. And yeah, opening up with the church thing, didn't need that whatsoever. Opening up with the explosion, at least it did get my attention. It also kind of showcased that Hugh Jackman and John Travolta were going to be working together. Also showed some Vinnie Jones. Also showed off some great early 2000s CGI effects, because there's a big explosion that happens, and all this happens in the first 10 minutes. I'm hoping you are okay with a tad bit of spoilers there. But the explosion, I thought, still looked pretty dang decent to this day. I've seen a lot more CGI. I just watched a movie that came out in 2025, Flight Risk, with Mark Wahlberg. And there's some CGI in there that looks way worse than the CGI that is done in Swordfish. I don't know. This is just a good capsule of early 2000s. There's some hacking moments in here that are hilarious. The master setup of like 7 huge fat monitor screens with like the circle of life going around it and stuff. I don't know. It's very aged. It's very of its time, but to me, there's something nostalgic about that a little bit, is there not? But now let's go into the transfer and audio portion of this review. And I am very, very happy to report, if you're a fan of Swordfish, you're going to love this. You're going to love the way that this release looks, because as soon as that explosion thing happened, that looked great. I feel like the color palette of this movie really helps the 4K absolutely sing and pop. We are talking Dolby Vision. We are talking HDR10. We are talking having a 100 gigabyte disc on the 4K. This sucker looks so pristine, and I'm happy to report that this is one of my favorite transfers of the year so far. Say what you will about the movie, but if you are a fan of this movie, it's never looked better. I don't think it can ever look any better than what it is here. There's some great scenes of like Hugh Jackman hitting a golf ball. That whole scene looks great. Everything here, I did not find anything to nitpick with. While it doesn't go as far as amazingness as like a Dirty Harry of this year for me, the Cell. Those are a couple of great, stellar, top tier 4K transfers. This is up there in that discussion, but just a tad bit less down. But that being said, transfer-wise, this sucker's phenomenal. Audio, we have a 5.1 soundtrack, and I'm not as big of a snob on the audio side of things as I am the visual side. I have a 5.1 surround sound soundbar with a subwoofer. That always sounds good enough for me. I also have started getting into listening to some of this like on headphones. I have some AirPod Maxes right here, and I like to just kind of put those in just to get some more of that surround sound effect. I usually watch half of it like this while I am exercising, and then I do the other half with the sound bar, and both sounded absolutely phenomenal. Transfer and audio wise here, with nothing to nitpick, I'm gonna give this a 10 out of 10.
Perfect.
I couldn't think of any other way. I couldn't think of any negatives, and if I can't think of any negatives, it's got to be perfect. But now let's go into the packaging side of things. Here is Swordfish. I love, first off, that they decided to go with the classic poster artwork for the actual slipcover, and the new artwork is hidden inside, because here is the new artwork. It's got some Swordfish explosions, the explosion scene that I talked about. If we open it up, that kind of pans over to the front and back cover here. Very, very nicely done. There's not a lot of like super memorable scenes here. I mean, there's a couple, but action set piece scenes without spoiling a lot of things in the movie. The explosion is what does it. There's something with a bus. There's something with coding with something in your lap. Like there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek hubba moments. Like, can you believe this guy's doing this? Like watching it with your friends, just elbowing them. The explosion is something that everyone loves, and I feel like is very memorable in this movie. so it's nice that it's right here. Both things have the descriptors, which I kind of wish was only on the slip, but again, if the slipcover sells out, it's nice to have on this as well. But if you want the reversible artwork, you go in here, and there is the classic poster artwork right there. Always love that Arrow Video gives us choice. The disc right here, 100 gigabytes, has the same image. That's another knock that I could give it, is that all the images are just this explosion. You get the booklet. Let's see if I can show some things and no naughty bits pop up. There's some John Travolta and Hugh Jackman looking very Matrix-esque. Probably a big what am I trying to say? Ooh, I don't even know if I want to show this. I don't want to show this. This kind of spoils the last action scene of the movie, so I'm not going to go there. But that action set piece is very, very fun. And there's a special feature that I'll talk about a little bit later that kind of touches upon that. There's Vinnie Jones. Always love to see Vinnie Jones in a movie. Got some Don Cheadle as well as the main cop in the movie. The give and take, the play with Don Cheadle and Hugh Jackman is pretty dang fun throughout. We also have a double-sided poster, which is just, I guess I can show this off. There's a little bit of a differentiator in here, so I will unfold it. It is the same artwork, but this way, here is the Swordfish classic poster artwork, and here it's this way. It's sideways. It's horizontal and vertical. A little bit of a difference. Kind of nice there. Again, 10 times out of 10, I don't do anything with these posters. If you do, let me know what movies you have hanging up in your house that have come in physical media releases like this. I would honestly like to know, because to me, if I could save a couple bucks and not get the poster, I would be a-okay. I would much rather have other physical goodies in my physical media. I feel like these are just like the safe sound ones. I don't know. Packaging wise, very, very solid. Arrow Video normally does it right. And I just, there's nothing insane about this. They're playing the hiss. It's very, very solid. Packaging wise, I'm going to go with an 8 out of 10 here. Again, wish there was a little bit more included, but it's Arrow Video. You kind of know what you're going to get. And what you're going to get is pretty dang great. We talked about the packaging. We talked about the TNA effect. Last thing we have to talk about are the special features on this release. And there are a couple of new ones and a lot of archival ones. The two new interviews we have on here is Soundtrack Hacker, a brand new interview with composer Paul Oakenfold, excuse me. And that was probably the best one out of the two different new interviews for this, because the soundtrack is pretty memorable. It's pretty very like techno focused, very like clubhouse music. He goes into how this was the first movie that ever had the song Planet Rock in it, soundtrack, in an actual movie, a Hollywood movie, which is kind of crazy. But he kind of, you know, club dubbed that famous Africa Bambaataa song. That was cool to see. And just how he kind of talks very briefly about how he got started in Hollywood, going from Britain and starting his musical journey and going into an entirely different avenue that he did not really see himself diving into. I want to say after this, he also did the soundtrack for The Matrix Revolution. I think that's like the biggest movie that he's done. Interesting watch. We also have How to Design a Tech Heist, a brand new interview with production designer Jeff Mann. This one was about 20 minutes long. It's okay. I mean, it's fine. It's got a lot of tidbits to be had. But at this point, I was starting to lose a little bit of steam with what he was bringing to the table. It's fine, but nothing insane that you really have to... you can watch it, I guess. Don't feel like you need to watch it, I guess. If you have other things to do, do those things. And then there's a bunch of archival special features that are on the Blu-ray that I have right down there. I didn't even grab it for this review. I kicked it because now I have the 4K and I'm never going to watch that Blu-ray again. We have the HBO First Look Swordfish, a promotional behind-the-scenes featurette. We have Effects in Focus, The Flying Bus, which is the third act, and it's very cool. I guess the one thing that I could say about that brand new interview from the production designer is that they had a completely different third act, and it wasn't working. Like, they shot it all, they test screened it, it didn't work. It had like a instead of they were driving away in an ambulance, and the ambulance turned into 3 ambulances, and then it was just like, okay, what ambulance are you gonna follow? Swing and a miss. What they decided to do here with the bus and the getaway of the bus was very, very innovative, because I've never really seen anything like that, and it's another memorable piece in Swordfish that I'm happy that they changed course, because sometimes you want to do things by the script, but then you might have a brainstorm idea. And this was a very expensive brainstorm idea too, but everyone loved the idea, so the money was thrown their way. They were able to film it. I think it was a good choice to add in here. We also have Swordfish in Conversation, a promotional featurette with interviews from everybody in here. Hugh Jackman, John Travolta, Halle Berry, Don Cheadle, Sam Shepard, and the director, and Joe Silver, the producer. 2 alternate endings with optional commentary by Dominic Sena, the trailer, a lot of stuff. It's nice that they have a lot of stuff from the old Blu-ray release, and they also have a couple of new. I'm always a fan whenever any physical media release decides to bring the old, also bring the new. Combination I absolutely love. Wish they were able to get a couple more different people in here that weren't super behind the scenes like this one was. But that being said, what we have here is absolutely solid. Again, I'm going to give the special features a score of an 8 out of 10 as well. Super well done. And that gives the final score of Swordfish 4K from Arrow Video a 26 out of 30. Not too shabby, Swordfish, not too shabby. Again, could do a heck of a lot worse with a movie that is all over the place. I can see how some people would not like this movie. I can see how some people would be offended to watch this movie in 2025. Right place, right time, mindset turned a certain way. This is a fun as heck ride for me. One of those turn your brain off, throw popcorn in your mouth type of movies. And I don't know, it's so hyper stylized that it just kind of ascends you into a different place. And for me, that place was very entertaining. Have you seen Swordfish? If you have, let me know your comments on the movie. If you want, the link is in the description for Swordfish, for you to add it to your collection, either on Amazon or themovieroom.com. If you do Amazon, I get a little bit of a kickback. If you want to save a little bit of money, go to themovieroom.com. Use my discount code SteelBook10. You save 10% off everything on the website, including Swordfish. So, thank you very much for watching this far, and until next time, I'll see ya. Hi everybody. And if you made it this far, I guess congratulations for my beatboxing skills. You got to witness those, and you also made it to the after credits scene. Good for you. You did it. You did it. Gene Hackman indeed. Why didn't I use that in the full review? Oh my god, Hackman indeed. He was born for this role. He was born for this role. My question for you is, what's your favorite hacking film of all time? A movie that has a lot to deal with the, computers and typing and just getting into a certain world. Like, I would say it's not a hacking movie, even though hacking's in it. I would have to go Social Network. I love that movie, even though it's kind of borderline. It's more coding than it is hacking, but he does hack a little bit as well. That's what comes to mind. I feel like you need to watch a lot of those very, very old, I guess not old, 90s. 90s is not old, even though it is kind of old, but it's not old. I'm 90s. I'm not old. I'm not old, okay? I feel like I need to watch the Virtuosities of the world, the Lawnmower Mans of the world. Get back to those like cyber crime movies from the 90s, because it's such a vibe, isn't it? Swordfish is such a vibe. It's of an era. I enjoyed it quite a bit. That's all I got. Favorite hacker movie? Let me know in the comments so I know that you got this far in the video. Thanks again, and we're gonna go out with an explosion.